Welcome to the Ask an Expert Digital Project Productivity and Automation session this morning, and it's been brought to you by the County of Simcoe, the Small Business Enterprise Center of South Georgian Bay, the Small Business Enterprise Center of Barrie, Simcoe County and Orillia, as well as our Community Futures Development Corporations that reside in Orillia, Nottawasaga, North Simcoe, and the South Georgian Bay. I'd also like to thank the town of Collingwood for hosting the Zoom webinar and working diligently in the background, along with Tiffany Boning, who is one of the economic development officers with the County of Simcoe. Tiffany, thank you for your patience in helping to coordinate myself and Ben and the rest of our panelists. We really do appreciate it. So as I said, my name's Tim Newton and I'm the manager of the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center, and I'll be moderating today's session. But more importantly, our presenter, Ben Frisch, head of the South Georgian Bay Digital Service Squad, since its inception in early 2019, is joined by a group of automation rock stars, at least that's what I'm going to call you guys, who will share their experiences in incorporating tech-related automation in areas of social media, email, CRMs, inventory, and team management. And with that, I'd like to both welcome and hand over to my friend and the head of our digital service squad, Ben Frisch.
Thank you, Tim, and welcome everyone. We're excited to chat with you today about digital productivity and automation. All things productivity and automation combined, actually, because we're going to be talking about even outsourcing and managing teams and different ways that you can really enhance your business through some very well-known tools and tactics to just be more efficient. And we have a great group of local business owners and squad members joining us today that are going to share some of their tips and tricks and platforms that they use to do just that, make their lives easier, their businesses more efficient. The first thing I want to mention, as Tim already kind of spoke about off the top there, is that yes, the Digital Main Street and Beyond program is still underway, and we're looking forward to extending that program with the help of the federal and Ontario governments. And if you're not familiar, just a quick recap, available to you here in Simcoe, South Georgian Bay is direct hands-on support virtually from your digital service squad. There will be $2,500 grants coming back, as Tim had mentioned as well, with some really exciting new eligibility criteria that's opening up that availability to businesses beyond the downtown core. So that's really exciting. One thing to note, and I mentioned it, or I forgot to mention it on a Facebook Live that I did yesterday as well, is that previous grant recipients will not be eligible for this round. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Also through Digital Main Street, there are free e-commerce websites available through the Shop Here program. And we're really excited to be once again offering free 360 photos of your location now that the province is starting to slowly open up again, and we're able to safely visit locations and take photos. This is an amazing addition that we can add to any business's Google My Business listing, and we can share those 360 photos so you can do whatever you want with them. They're pretty fantastic. And again, just in case you weren't aware, we service from Meaford. We service Meaford, the town of Blue Mountains, Collingwood, Wasaga Beach, Clearview, Ajala, Tesserantio, Penetanguishene, Tiny, and New Tecumseh. So quite a broad distance there that we cover. And equally, the different topics that we can help with include things like just navigating that Digital Main Street program and applying for the grant, but also consultation and support, starting with a digital audit. the link is right there down at the bottom. We'll put that in the chat before you leave. And overall, just helping to enhance your digital presence, just like what we're doing today, and help activate easy-to-use tools such as Google My Business, social media. We've helped businesses install analytics, Search Console, understand these platforms, and use them to be more conscious of what is happening on their websites. We can help launch a digital marketing campaign on Facebook or Google. Tons of stuff that we can do. There's a whole menu of service on the SBEC website, so I definitely recommend that you go check that out. EnterpriseCenter.ca, Digital Service Squad, when you have a chance. We're going to be around for a while, as Tim mentioned. So on to today's topic, digital productivity and automation. This is definitely something that the squad has and can help with, incorporating different solutions. There's always, the problems that business owners face are never quite that unique. There are obviously some unique elements to those problems that you will face, but oftentimes there is a solution out there that is designed for just that problem that you're facing. And we have a group of panelists to share some of those solutions with you today. But really the theme is often around, saving time, saving money, having better communications with your customers and clients, having happier customers and clients. That's always key. Being able to do more, serving more people with that efficiency in place, and completing more with efficient process and teams. So we're going to talk about managing teams as well. And so just a quick intro to our panelists. I'll give the bios before everyone speaks, but today we're joined by Catherine Maxwell from Blue Mountain Tea Company, and she's going to be talking about her inventory management. We've got Jan Farragon from Be Visible Web Design, and she's going to be talking to us about Monday.com and how she manages teams with that platform. Jamie Armstrong, registered psychotherapist, is going to be talking to us about outsourcing her social media. Anna Sinclair from Total Mom Inc. Welcome, Anna. She's going to be speaking to us about Asana, however you say it.
It's Asana.
Sorry? It's Asana.
It's Asana.
Asana,
yeah.
Yes. And sorry, Anna is from Total Mom Inc., talking about Asana for project management, and there's a lot of other aspects to that. I'm really excited to get into that topic. Rochelle and myself as well actually will be speaking about social media management, automating that process. Rochelle is from Quarter Century Theater. She's also a Digital Service Squad team member with our squad, and knows a lot about social media. So I'm excited about that. And then Sophia Lemon, a photographer, is another squad member who is an expert in all things email automation and CRM. And she's going to be joining us via video link. Because she was camping this week and her connection was not very good. So looking forward to that as well. First off, I would like to introduce Catherine Maxwell, owner of Blue Mountain Tea Company. Catherine founded Blue Mountain Tea Company, a loose leaf tea and herbal emporium in downtown Collingwood in 2015. What started as a strictly bricks and mortar business has grown to an online store as well, shipping tea across North America and even Europe. As the store has grown, she's wrestled with the best way to manage inventory, allowing for cups to go, sale by gram, in-store and bulk purchases to resellers. That's a lot. She'll share with us what she's learned and is continuing to learn as she grows. Please welcome Catherine Maxwell.
Hey guys, how are you? So I'm in my store right now. I'm in the back end of my store, and I'm going to swing my chair around just so you can see. So there's a whole lot of bins behind me, and those bins are full of a wide assortment of teas and herbs. And when I started out, I probably had, I don't know, maybe 40 teas. And as Ben mentioned, we're up to somewhere around 160. Part of my problem is someone will come in and say to me, do you have ... And I go, no, I don't, but let me see if I can find it. And then it just keeps growing from there. So the good thing is we're able to source all kinds of unique things. The bad thing is it's a headache keeping track of it all. And it's a headache managing it all, because we have the store where we do cups to go and sell tea by the gram and sell prepackaged teas. Then we have the resellers. So let's say we sell to Ravenna, or Scandinav buys our tea, or Curry's. So then it's packaged, or we have the website. And so we've been through we're on our third iteration right now of a website. Our first one was built for us, a bespoke website that was built for us back in 2016 in our first year of business. And it was great, but it was very manual, very labor intensive. We had to really do a lot of upkeep. Second one we went with, we went with Lightspeed. So Lightspeed was always our point of sale right from day one. And Lightspeed sort of bolted in to our custom built website, but it was glitchy. So then Lightspeed ended up buying a company that competes with Shopventory. It's a online tool, and we worked with that. But we still I felt that Lightspeed was phenomenal as a point of sale tool, but that the online was a bit of an afterthought that they were really working to, and I think they are continuing to really work on making that a really integrated presence. But I was finding, and my staff was ready to throttle me, that customers would order tea and then we were out of it. We just weren't keeping track of it properly. Tea would be missing. We'd do an inventory count, and it just wasn't working well for us. So when our contract was up at the end of last year, we looked around and decided to move over to Shopify. Shopify in and of itself has been great, super for online, less so for bricks and mortar. So I've sort of traded one for the other, but where I am on my business journey, the store is humming along nicely. It's the online that I really want to build out. So I felt that Shopify was the better tool for that. It was a very easy, intuitive tool. And we had a website up and running within a month. And that was while we moved our physical location and the Christmas rush. So it was hectic and crazy, but we still got the website up and running. That being said, we didn't feel that Shopify was able to help us with the complexity of our inventory management. And they actually didn't feel they could. They felt that there were certain elements of how we build a product out that they couldn't contribute to. So for instance, with a cup to go, there's the lid, there's the cup, there's the sleeve, there's the tea, and if it's a latte, there's the dairy or non-dairy product that you're adding in. So all of those are variants that goes into making a cup to go. Did I say the tea too? Tea. So we ended up going with Shopventory. So Shopventory is sort of our bridge into Shopify. So everything we have is housed in Shopventory. We find it easy to use. We find it seamless. We find the support very good. And then it just feeds Shopify constantly. And so far, knock on wood, we're feeling as though we have a much better handle on the business. Now, that being said, Ben, you talked about, the benefits of automation is saving work. And I have to say, I'm pretty vocal with the Shopventory guys right now, because let's just say I bring in one new tea, I have to set it up as tea by the kilo, and then pull 1 gram from that, the cups from that, the lattes from that, the online, which is 50 grams, 100 grams, 250 grams. So I've got 8 variables. And by the way, in the cups, there's a 12-ounce cup, a 20-ounce cup, hot, a 12-ounce, and a 20-ounce iced. That's a lot of building for one product. So I'm actually going to participate with them on a panel with their programmers to see if there's an easier way to create some kind of a checklist where you could just like check this or don't check that to build something out in a template format. And they're open to that. So what I like about Shopventory and Shopify for that matter is that the developers are open and listening to the feedback that they get from their customers in trying to make it easier. So I know that I'm somewhat unique. I know we all feel that we're unique in our businesses, but for me, it was a bit of a nightmare. And I am finding that the overall experience is much better, that the customer experience is much better. I would love to have it all housed in one spot. So if Shopify could do it all for me and I could eliminate Shopventory, that would be great. But at the moment, for me, I've had to do this sort of fed approach through the Shopventory portal into Shopify. The nice thing about Shopventory that I like too is that it is, I can port it to anyone. So it can feed into, let's say, Square or Clover, like they work with other vendors. So if something went awry with Shopify, I would still have everything sitting with Shopventory. As a Canadian, one thing I don't like is that my tax sits in Shopify, not in Shopventory. So every time I build something in Shopventory, I still have to go over to Shopify and make sure the tax is set up right for whether it's a cup to go or whether it's loose leaf tea, which is not taxable, or whether it's a hard good. So automations definitely help me. The evolution of the automation as it continues is interesting to see. I'm not there yet in terms of feeling that I've got the smoothest, easiest process, but I do feel that we are providing a better customer experience, because there's nothing worse than someone ordering something online and you've got to call them up and say, sorry, we don't have it right now. It's going to be another week. So there's been a big improvement for us in that area. And that at the end of the day is what it's all about.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah. And to your point, it's like marketing. It's something that's always going to be ongoing and always going to be improving. But that's fantastic that they're working with you directly to help improve that. And, I don't know if we might have forgot to mention, but we are going to have some time at the end of this for Q&A. So definitely to our participants, at any point, you can drop some questions into the chat. And we will get to those at the end of our webinar, after all of our panelists have a chance to speak. Well, thank you, Catherine. That was great. Moving right along to Jan Farragon, owner of Be Visible Web Design. Jan is the founder of Be Visible and has been a web designer for almost a decade. In a past career, Jan was a researcher and biologist and enjoys the technical side of great design, but also the visual satisfaction of building attractive, clean, and functional sites. Jan has created both WooCommerce and Shopify websites for e-commerce clients and likes the user-friendly interface of Shopify for clients that are managing their own online stores. Here is Jan Farragon. Oh, and she's going to share her screen. So I'm going to stop.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen because I think it's easier to show you what I'm going to talk about. So we are using Gravity Forms on our website and Monday.com to manage client support. We're using Monday.com for a lot of things, but really just have time to show you one thing. So this is something that has made us more efficient. So we have this just a client form on a support form on our website that existing clients can use. So they fill in what they need, they can put files there, that sort of thing. And then what happens when they submit that form, it goes to email, a couple of emails actually. And we could skip this step, but I like having the email backup because things go down. So like if we have Monday and Gmail catching the submission, then we have two things. So then what happens after that is it goes to, we've set it up, so it goes to Monday. I don't know, it's not clicking for me. But sorry. But anyways, so that form submission would go here to Monday. I think I'm doing something that I don't want to be doing, but I'll show you on another tab. But it goes to Monday, and then once it's in Monday, like our team also can access it. So I can see it come into Monday, and then I can assign somebody. So I assigned myself to this so I don't confuse Basil. But yeah, so I would see the form come in, see what they want, and I can assign it, or vice versa. Basil can see it and he can say, oh, I got it, I'm going to do it, and then tag it there. So we also use Monday for client support by inviting clients that are on big projects access to Monday. So we make this board shareable, and then we would invite them as a guest to this board. So they don't count on your Monday account as a user, they're guests, but then they can add things to the board. So it's working really well with one big client. They add a task, and then in this little area here on Monday, this is where you put everything. So sort of like an email chain, you can have multiple conversations about one topic here. But the good thing is that then it's just in here and you know exactly where it is. You don't have to filter through emails. You can add a file in the update. Like it's kind of just like email. You can add a file and images, things like that. Or you can also add files here. So this would be if you weren't one update, basically one email conversation sort of thing. If you were using files for the whole chain of conversations, you would put it in the info box. And again, the client, we have a team member that works at different hours who usually works later in the day. So our client knows if she has something that she needs urgently done, it's later in the day, she'll assign him to it. And if it's early in the morning, she knows she'll probably catch me, so she can assign me to it, or we can both be assigned. And then she can watch, so when we're done, it would just move to the done file. So instead of having like a million Gmails back and forth, it just makes it a lot easier. And I'll just quickly show you here what Monday is capable of. It's so many things, but you can see when an email is received, sent to contact, when status changes to stuck. So say with that big client, we wanted her to know immediately if something was stuck. We could set it up so we send them a text message, hey, stuck, like it's that urgent, or we can send them an email. It integrates with all these things. The integrations we've done have been pretty easy. So Gmail is how we're doing our client form. But yeah, so you can say whatever you want. You could, or when you receive an email, you just set up these rules basically on when to create items in one day. So it's been very useful if you're using spreadsheets or if you're tracking conversations between clients and team members by email. This is just so much more efficient, so much nicer visually, because everything's just in one spot. And you really can store these little bubbles here, store an amazing amount of information. So, and that's all I'll show you for now. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Jan. That's awesome. I'll just get you to stop. There you go. So coming up next is Jamie Armstrong. Jamie is a registered psychotherapist providing therapy services to children, youth, and adults in Georgian Bay area. Her fun, gentle, and painless approach to therapy teaches skills, not pills, while having brain-changing conversations to clear and eliminate trauma and mental health. in as little as one session. She started her practice 3.5 years ago and has had a 147% growth rate from year 1 to 2. As her business continues to grow, she attributes her success to connecting with like-minded entrepreneurs for outsourcing and support. And here is Jamie Armstrong to talk about just that, outsourcing her social media.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here because I know when we think about automation, we don't often think about outsourcing because outsourcing costs us money and we're trying to use automation tools to save us money. And while I think outsourcing definitely costs money, and it may be money that you don't have, it also, by not doing it, might cost you time, it might cost you energy, and that might equal money that you and your business can't afford. So I outsource my social media, specifically for my Instagram, as Ben mentioned. And I think the thing to think about when you're outsourcing for anything is to first start with an assessment to determine what is available for you to outsource and really what you should be looking at. When I started my business, I used an assessment through Futurepreneur, and it was just this assessment of what your skills and interests are. So I went through and did these, it was a ranking on a scale of things, and you assess sort of, what skills you have, what interests you have, and it was all business related. I mean, I'm a really great therapist, but I never got any training in business in any of the school that I ever attended or anything else. So I was left to do that on my own. And Futurepreneur's assessment of these skills and interests was really helpful because as you ranked it, you sort of got to see, here's what I'm really good at, here's what I'm really interested in, and all the things that ranked really low and were left at the end also end up being those tasks and projects and areas of your business that you never get to. It's always that thing of like, oh, I'll do that later, or okay, and it's like last on your list and then sometimes doesn't happen. So getting to see what's last on your list based on whether it's skills or interest is the thing to start looking at. Well, I better find someone who knows how to do that and someone who would be interested in getting that done. So finding those low-level rankings of things are really useful for knowing where to start when thinking about what would be available to outsource. Now, I also did a digital assessment because, when I started, therapy is pretty easy. You just meet with someone and you chat, right? And I could do that anywhere. But when we really started getting into sort of the digital realm of things, I use the Digital Main Street digital assessment. It's free to do online. And that was really helpful because doing that digital assessment allowed me to assess my business. And it also showed me all the things I didn't know. I didn't know content marketing was a thing. And so even meeting with Ben, he was like, yeah, content marketing. I was like, I don't know what any of that stuff is. So doing these assessments was really cool because we all know the saying, you don't know what you don't know. Well, and it's true. So having a grasp and using assessment to determine what's available to you helps you then know what to outsource. I think going from there is also then you get to see what's a fit for you. And you get to really decide what's a fit, not what other people have to say about it. When I was first looking to revamp my website, had so many meetings with people, and every single one of them were like, okay, and we included a social media package for you. But at that time, really a year ago, I was not interested in social media at all. It was not in my business plan. It was not something I wanted to do. I didn't even have any personal Instagram accounts. I thought it was a rabbit hole I just didn't want to get into. I knew I was going to lose all my time and days just scrolling mindlessly. And so I wasn't ever interested. So every time I had meetings with people for what I was interested in, they flexed their expert muscle and told me what else I needed to have. And it didn't match where I was at that time. So your business, and doing these assessments of you personally and for your business are really helpful to allow you to be clear on what it is you're interested in. And you get to then decide what's a fit for you. For me, what happened was I was trying to learn some of these things that, when I heard content marketing, I didn't know what that was. And it just happened to be that the Aurelia CDC put on an event called Content is King. And it was in April of last year, right as COVID hit, and my business totally came to a stop for a few months. And I didn't have anything else to do. So the time was available for me to really look into what I didn't know. And I attended this workshop, and immediately when I got into it, I realized I was in the wrong place. It was all about content for Instagram. I was not interested. I hated it. And I just loosely listened to it because I didn't have anything else to do. It was COVID. And from there, the presenter was a woman, Shannon Belial, and she owns SB Creative Studio. And she offered this free session afterwards to connect with everyone who participated, to really just talk about, content and meet with them. So I flippantly did it. I very straight up told her and said, I'm not interested in social media for my business. I don't want anything to do with this, but sure, tell me what I should learn about it. And, if I was on something, it'd be Instagram, because that fits me than anything else. After I met with her, she sent me just sort of a summary, and she said, yeah, here, I've got a sense of your brand. Here's things for you to consider. Use these colors, or if you take a photo, do it with graffiti. And she really 100% nailed my brand. And in this thing that she sent me was a thing of, here's, if you wanted to be on Instagram, here's what a grid might look like for that. And so she sent me this thing and just said, if you have any questions, let me know. And after that, seeing that, I then wanted to follow me on Instagram, just based on what she put there. So she really sold me in terms of that it was a fit in this way of, she showed me what was possible. And again, it was something I didn't know. So you want to find that fit in that way, and you want to do what works for you, and when you do that, you want to talk to as many people as possible. I've certainly ran into problems before within my business where I just went with the first person. I liked what they had to say. It sort of fit for me in all senses, time, money, effort, all of that. And then those things never worked out. I hated it. I regretted it. I wished I had talked to more people. So I feel like what worked for me was when I connected with Shannon, I had already gone through all these meetings where people were really pushing social media on me, and I didn't want anything to do with it. She did it differently, and she just said, here's what it could be like, if you wanted to consider it, and here's how you could do it yourself. But I realized for me, I didn't want to do any of it myself. On my skill thing of my interest, it wasn't anything that was high ranking for me. So I outsourced my Instagram to SB Creative Studio. And for me, it really fits because it's a combination of, they manage all of it, but I really do the input. So Shannon's my social stylist, which I also felt really cool getting to say that I have one of those. It was quite on brand for me as well. And she really does capture the energy of my practice and my brand. And so she visually styles that through my Instagram account. So every month she connects with me about what do I have going on, and then she takes that and then she visually creates my Instagram grid, and then she sends it to me, and she even gives me these prompts and things of, here's when we're going to post and what we're going to post, or here's some suggestions. But ultimately, I'm the one who writes all of the posts. So it's not fully, it's outsourced in the way that she handles it in the whole umbrella, because I didn't know anything about Instagram. She set up my account, she manages my brand in terms of visual branding, and then she allows me to provide all the content. That wasn't a part I was interested in letting anyone else take over. My brand's very specific, and the information I want to share is very specific. So I write all the content, but she does everything else. She posts it, she provides me the analytics every month for things, and her expertise is what I rely on. It fit for me because it wasn't like you have to post this number of times a week. I felt really pressured with that. It was, we're going to post as much or as little as you want. Here's some suggestions on that. Here's some days for that. And so I give the content and she takes care of everything else, including photo shoots. So that was another piece that connected for me in there. And the outsource of that was a huge payoff. So the trial and error part of it just comes from after you've talked to as many people. Just know that when you're outsourcing, everything's negotiable. So when you're outsourcing things, people might say, okay, here's our year contract. I also outsource my newsletter and my blogs, and they wanted to do a year contract. And I said, well, let's try maybe 3 or 6 months. So we agreed on a 6-month contract. And so we constantly evaluate, and you want to adjust, and you want to just keep repeating that. For my blogs, I thought that was something that I would want to do because people told me you had to do that for your website. After 5 months and I'd only wrote 2 blogs, I realized I didn't want to do it. So I outsourced that and I changed it around so I didn't have to do anything for it. So there's lots of options. You can always trial things out. You can evaluate it, adjust, and just keep doing that. And I think the thing that's really neat is that you also want to do the same thing with your investment. I don't know that my newsletters generate a return on investment, but my Instagram for sure does. The very first post I did, which was a year ago this month, immediately I had one client reach out to me that day to schedule a session. So it was like this immediate return of an investment, and I actually track that. So I keep a list through some of my client systems. I track where my clients are coming from. So I can go back to all my digital marketing things and say, what really is working here? And what do I have to reevaluate? Now, I know outsourcing costs money. And so if you're not ready for that, one of the things that was helpful for me is that I participated in the Digital Main Street grants. And so that was a really great way to get to try some of these things. But I didn't flippantly just try things. I wasn't shooting at it. I did the work to really research it and see what fits. And I was really clear on what the purpose for all of that was. Instagram was a way for me to get my message out and to share and poke holes in the stigma of therapy. And it was also a way for clients to connect back with me and reach out for sessions. So if you're not sure, you don't have access to grants, and I have to tell you, when I started my practice, there were many, many days where I had to decide, would I put money into my business or was I going to get groceries? So I totally get it when you start and you don't have the money for things, but spending some of that will generate income. And so one way you can get ready for outsourcing is to find out how much something might cost and then put aside in a separate bank account. I pay just over $300 a month for my outsourcing for my Instagram. So if you're not sure if you're ready for something like that, then every month put $300 aside in another bank account. And if you can do 3 months consistently of having that money available, then you know you're ready to spend that on outsourcing. And that way, if you have a month where you're not ready or you're not sure you need to use that money, then it's no sweat. You can just continue just making sure. And I like to pretend to see if I'm doing it to make sure I'm ready and have the continuous income for it. And then I do it. The other thing that I also do with outsourcing in all my marketing is I think of it like my investments. Any return on that investment, I reinvest back to marketing. So as soon as I knew that I was, whatever clients I receive from Instagram, whatever profit I make from that, I reinvest back into any other marketing ventures that I'm using, because it's just a way to keep that going. So I hope that's helpful. Track everything, consider outsourcing. It's a really great way. I appreciate the way that I get to be involved, but also really hands off. My friends are also a really great support here. They messaged me yesterday and said, did your Instagram post change? It said something else, but now it's something different. And I said, I don't know. I haven't been on it today. I'm slammed. There's some posts. And so I know if my outsourcing team doesn't get it, my friends are always checking and they always tell me. So outsourcing is a really awesome way to help get things done and be involved, and you get to really decide what that looks like.
Great. Thank you, Jamie. That was awesome. And just a reminder too, that we will, if any of our panelists want to share their contact information, especially their Instagram accounts or social media accounts, drop those in the chat and we'll share them with the panelists as well, with the attendees in a follow-up email as well. So if you want to do that, go for it. And speaking of people to follow on Instagram as well, please welcome Anna Sinclair. Anna is the founder and CEO of an incredible organization and media company called Total Mom Inc., taking moms from overwhelmed to supported. She's a member of the Forbes Business Council, an RBC Canadian Women Entrepreneur Award nominee, and named by Canadian SME Business Magazine as one of Canada's most inspiring women entrepreneurs and business leaders. And those are just the accomplishments that she had on her email signature. So please welcome Anna Sinclair to speak to us about project management with Asana.
Thanks so much, Ben. I'm so happy to be here, you guys. I spent a little bit of time this morning sort of jotting down some notes from the top of my brain about what I can tell you about Asana, because I feel like Asana was one of those, softwares that really changed the way that I run and grow and scale my business. One thing in particular is I'm sort of one of those all over the place innovative creators. I always come up with so many cool ideas for content, for programming, for events, for digital marketing, for social media. So there's a lot in this brain that needs to be put out there, but also my team to be on it. So I'm going to kind of go through some of the notes that I made this morning, and hopefully this will help you kind of streamline and create systems and processes within your business or organization, or even just your day-to-day operations. So Asana is a project management system. It's essentially sort of very similar to Monday.com, both really, really great softwares. I actually used Monday and Asana just kind of ended up being where I landed with my team. And my team was just like, let's just go with what works for you because you have to put everything in. So the main thing that I want to talk about is staying on top of all of your projects. If you're running events, if you're running digital programs, if you're offering products and services, if you're doing sales every single day, relying on emails and Excel spreadsheets and to-do lists is extremely not a good idea. You really, really, really want to be able to hold people accountable, but also follow strict deadlines and have backup plans and understand what your entire ecosystem of your team, whether it be contractors, employees, freelancers, or what have you, understand what's all going on, who's responsible for what, when it's due, what division it's part of, all of these things. If you start putting them in Google Docs, your Google Docs and your Google folder and your Drive will essentially be like a spider web of a bunch of thoughts. And I've been there. As an entrepreneur, you can start getting into like 20,000 folders. So Asana really helps streamline everything. So what you can do is you can create different teams. So what we do at Total Mom is we create a team called Team Design, Team Copywriter and Content, Team Sales, Team Executive Assistant. And under that, you can really focus on, communication, who's in charge, right? So one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about is assigning team members. In the Asana, you can actually see things on a calendar view. You can also see things as a Gantt chart, and you can also look at things like my tasks or other people's tasks, and you can output these almost like reports, whether it's weekly reports, monthly reports. So this is especially important when, you have a salesperson and you need to know, okay, what's in the pipeline? How much money is coming up? How much have they closed? When did they follow up with this contact? And even for yourself, when you're reaching out, say you have a product or service and you're reaching out to festivals or storefronts or whatever it is, any collaboration or partnership or sales lead can be input there, and you have this streamlined way and process and system. And you can really create like little playbooks and almost like templates that you can reuse and recycle. Anything from onboarding a new designer or a contractor to like giving your teams very important like documents that they need access to. Like we have one team that's just called all the most important docs. It's kind of like our holy grail of the documents. We call it the vault. And in there, we've got our brand kit, our brand voice, our bios, any important kind of media kits, decks, electronic press kits, logos, all of that stuff. So your team is really able to kind of streamline and know what they're doing. I'll tell you a little bit of like a day in the life of my Asana. So I'll wake up, I'll go straight into my Asana, and the first project that I go in is called Anna's calendar /emails/meetings. And so my assistant or my project manager, she will put all of my meetings and calls for the day. You click the card and the card will lead you to that appointment, what document you want to maybe take notes in. You also see kind of what's in 911 for the end of the day. My team has been like addicted to stickies. So I get these little stickies from Staples. It comes in like a big sticky ball. And so when I think of stuff from my brain, and as an entrepreneur and as a startup founder, you honestly come up with so many concepts and ideas, but if you always act on them at the time, you never get stuff done. And so one of the things we do is like a think tank incubator where I used to put all my ideas on sticky notes. I used to put to-do lists. I used to start brain dumping and researching, going down that rabbit hole, and you don't get stuff done. So now what we do is we have a tasks for today, 911s for end of day, 911s for end of week, and end of month. And I can see every single day, as soon as I get into my Asana, I know exactly what I'm working on, exactly what I'm in charge of, exactly who is, communicating with me that day and what I need to provide them for afterwards. So one of the really cool things you can do is you had a call with someone and you need someone from your team to follow up, or you yourself need to follow up with them. You can essentially create 2 little cards. One card is meeting with Ben. Second card is follow up to Ben's phone call with the next steps. And this really sounds almost like micro tasking, but microtasking and macro tasking is super, super key. Or else if you're following to-do lists, you don't even know how long each task is going to take. And so sometimes you can write these super uber ambitious to-do lists, but kind of get lost in the sauce of like where you're at with what you're doing. This is especially important for your digital transformation plan right now with, creating webinars, creating digital events. Maybe you're a part of digital events. Maybe you want to do a pop-up or something like that. Having a clear work back that is not in an Excel, but in Asana is going to be critical because you're going to be able to see exactly what you have left. And what I like to do in my Asana is I'll create a project. So imagine the project is a business summit. I will then decide how many weeks I have coming up before that business summit and break down each section to week 11, week 10, week 9, week 8, and so on and so forth. And then that way my team knows exactly where they're accountable and responsible within those weeks and where everyone is, either falling behind or needs extra support. Also, this kind of productivity tool reduces miscommunications. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of times I've been in this situation where I've explained something to someone or a team member, and then I think they know what's going on. It sounds like they know what's going on. And then the due date's coming up and they're like, yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with that. And it's the worst because especially with being digital, going online, and especially content, like missing a newsletter has been something we've done as a company. And it kills me because when you miss a newsletter, you just like lose so many opportunities. And it's just one of those things where it could be a newsletter, it could be a task, it could be a follow-up with someone important. I like to have a project in my Asana that has my golden list of my most important contacts that I like to stay in contact throughout the year. That's also really, really helpful. And you can use it as a CRM system, process the sales journey and cycle, even a customer acquisition cycle, or even something as simple as like, say you're working on your website and you're working with someone from Digital Main Street or anywhere, or Shopify or what have you. You can create an entire project of everything that you need to go through. And as you're checking it off, they actually in Asana, they have these like unicorn things that fly across the sky, and it just makes you feel like you're getting stuff done and you know what's ahead of you. For such a long time, I had these long to-do lists and I just would do anything and everything. And it was like 3 a.m. nights. And now my mental health and my wellness is so at the forefront of everything I do. Asana allows me to take the breaks and the spaces that I need to recharge as an entrepreneur and give my best service to not only our clients, our customers, my team, and everyone around me. So how am I doing on time, Ben? Should I wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, in a minute or two, if you can.
Okay, cool. Because I got some more. I just wasn't sure. Okay. So also, we create these things called weekly sprints. I don't know if you guys have ever done this with your teams or, you know, with anybody that you work with, where you get into a room and you lock yourselves in that room for the full day. And you're like, okay, we're going to brain dump. We're going to cover this. We're going to plan this. We're going to strategize. We're going to plan an execution plan. Asana is amazing because instead of everyone just sitting there typing and writing down, you can dump all the ideas directly as a task. And then afterwards decide, okay, who's doing that? When is it due? When this should be done? And you kind of house everything there. I don't know if some of you suffer with this, but like I don't have them in front of me. I can't get to it, but behind me, there's a very embarrassing stack of like 5,652 pages of just notes and scribbles. And that, I mean, I know I'm a creative person, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through this too. We just like brain dump. Like I said, keep to your project management system and allow yourself to have days where you like go back and visit your incubator thoughts, your ideas, and be able to set SMART goals for them. Like think about, okay, this is a great idea, but should I really be starting this other new great idea right now? Or should I finish off this project and all of these tasks that I have? It's super, super important to see what's coming up in your life, in your business, to actually be able to manage and juggle the actual tasks that need to be completed to grow and scale efficiently. As entrepreneurs, we can come up with so many concepts and ideas, but it just really just does not make things easier on us. And I'm very transparent with that, like being an innovator and wanting to always do the next blue ocean thing and have the competitors stop copying. You always got to come out with new things. And so there's a fine line between constantly trying to create new and more and add things to your list, and then actually doing something really well. So that's something that I could share with you guys this year. We're really focusing on this project management system being like the guiding North Star of how operations is run. You can reduce your number of meetings. That's one of the things I wrote down. Less people needing to talk about pointless things. Just check your Asana. You have your section. I have my section. Super easy. And it's a great way to manage new freelancers and people that come into your business. You just have a little project for them. You tell them, this is what you're responsible for. This is what I'm responsible for. And everybody kind of comes together and knows what's going on. You don't have to have like 1 hour meetings with a designer somewhere talking about, well, I was thinking this and I was thinking that. So super, super helpful. Obviously, last couple thoughts is you can stay on top of all of your client deliverables. This is a huge thing for us at Total Mom. We work with over 100 sponsors for like a digital conference. And so we need to be able to keep tabs on all the deliverables we promise them in sponsorships, in their documents, in their contractual agreements. But also like Ben knows this, when you're creating email communication, but also like social media and content creation and design and copywriting, there's so much to that. And it has to roll out properly or your event is not promoted properly. And then you just have to keep putting money in to getting it better and back on top. That's another thing that I really want you guys to think about, is using a project management system for your content, for your newsletters and blogs. So hopefully that helped. I mean, I have a bunch of other stuff. So if you ever guys want to connect with me, not only do I know a lot about entrepreneurship and growing and scaling brands, but I also own a creative agency called Sinclair Creative Agency. And so that is something that I'm very passionate about, helping entrepreneurs and small businesses develop that brand visually. So let me know if you guys ever need to chat. You can always connect with me through Ben, or I will leave some of my details in the chat box below.
Thank you,
I hope that helped.
Yeah, that was very, I think you might have sold me too. And Catherine is already asking questions too, which we'll get to
at the end. Okay.
Yeah. And so next up, we've got Rochelle Reynolds, is the founder and director of Quarter Century Theater. She's an award-winning actor, writer, director, entrepreneur, social media manager, and is also a Digital Service Squad member. Her expertise is in storytelling, content creation, and guerrilla marketing. She holds a variety of certifications and certificates in entrepreneurship, social media and digital marketing earned over the past 4 years. Rochelle loves to help fellow entrepreneurs succeed and is eager to guide you on your digital transformation. Talking about, just briefly about social media management software and how that can help you.
Definitely. Thank you, Ben. Yes. So especially over the last couple of years, my world has become more and more social media centric. So currently I manage I think I'm up to 10 accounts between all the different responsibilities that I have with different organizations and everything. And that's not even including just my own social media stuff that honestly I keep up with the least and the worst of all of them. But for that reason, a lot, speaking to what we just heard with Anna and also Jamie and Catherine as well, really all of our panelists so far, I am the living embodiment of that trial and error process. I am 100% that person who started off just sort of going like, yeah, I can help you with your social media. That sounds really fun. And then suddenly, I was stuck on Instagram for hours at a time, creating posts and making sure that I was logging in at the right time to post when the post needed to go out and all that sort of stuff. And it just sort of, my journey into adopting automation and really using tools to my advantage that way was directly born out of, needing to solve immediate problems that were having negative impacts on my life and how I was spending my time and everything. So social media is not something that's going to go away. If you own a business of any kind, it is really crucial to be on some kind of platform in some kind of capacity to help the world learn more about you and to help build trust in your brand. And also just to give yourself a place to kind of pat yourself on the back, right? Sometimes running a business can feel kind of lonely and you don't get to celebrate your wins the way you want to all the time. And social media can be a really great place for that, to be able to get kind of that instant gratification, I guess, of like, hey, look, I did this cool thing and people let you know that they like that. That's kind of nice. So because it is crucial, because it is something that everyone should be part of in some capacity, it's really great to maintain that consistency element. The worst thing that you can do is kind of like start a social media account or begin your presence or whatnot, or begin building your presence and then abandon the mission because you're becoming too overwhelmed or other things need to take precedence over getting your 3 posts a week out or whatever schedule you're creating for yourself. So this is where automation can come in handy. So a few things that I wanted to talk about. First of all, within the app that you're using, so whatever social media channel you are on, investigate that app first and foremost. There are lots of tools and tricks that are built into apps that I think people forget about. So specifically things that come to mind is setting up the auto messaging that's available in Instagram and Facebook, right? So that when people message you, they message your page, they get an automated response that says, thanks so much for reaching out. We'll be in touch. We've received your message and you'll hear from us soon. You can automate that message within seconds, really. You can update it to include any special sales or any special offers that you have on the go. It's something that you can continually be updating so that as people message you, you don't need to be worried about jumping on that message immediately and letting people know that you're aware that they've messaged you. You can trust that the tool is doing that for you. So that's a really great thing. And that's something that you don't have to invest in a tool for. Like, it's built right within the app. So that's one thing in particular. Also, auto scheduling within Facebook itself. That's been around for a long time and there's nothing wrong with it, right? You can use what the platform gives you. If and when you're kind of beyond that, so maybe you get into the position that I'm in where I'm managing a bunch of different accounts and, I don't like to be logged into Facebook 24/7, so I'd rather be managing it a little more remotely and whatnot, then that's when tools can really come into play. So all you need to do is search social media management tools, and you will just be inundated with so many programs that are out there. The ones that I can speak to because I've used them, or at least I have some experience with them. Things like Hootsuite, Buffer, Later, Planoly, Sked Social, Sprout Social, and HubSpot. Those are some of the major players in the space right now. The ones that I can really sort of double down on and personally tout would be Later. I think Later is a really great tool. I use it for BeFresh Media, so that's really good. I find it's very, very user friendly. Like if basically all you need is just something to help you get posts out the door, Later is a really great starting place. It's also pretty well integrated with Instagram, which is a bonus. There are some barriers with Instagram. You do if you are using an external social media management tool for Instagram in particular, really do your research on that, because not all social media management tools are built the same that way, and some are not well integrated with Instagram. But Later is really good. And also Sked Social. So Sked Social I've been using for a long time with my through my work with Be Visible Web Design, which Jan runs. So I love Sked Social. I find that it combines the ease of Later, so it's a really user-friendly platform, with kind of the more sophisticated or robust options that are available with some of these bigger players in the game, like Sprout Social and HubSpot. I think Sked is great. I love the interface. They are an Australian company, I believe, and so it's really cute. Anna mentioned getting like the little unicorns when in Asana. In Sked, you get to learn about quokkas. They have fun facts about quokkas that come up every time you complete a task. So that's really fun. And just an added bonus for that particular platform. Yes. So anyway, that's what I'd say about that in terms of how these tools can be used. So you can use them to create your content. So in a lot of cases, they have built-in editing software. So all you need to do is upload your media. You can throw filters on there. You can edit it, crop them, whatever you need to do. Then you build your storytelling into it. So there's an option to customize your captions for the different pages that you're on. So basically that means that you can have a caption that's designated for Instagram, for Facebook, for Twitter, for Pinterest, wherever you're living. You can customize what that looks like. And then you can schedule, depending on where, you can schedule as needed. So for me, I like to sort of keep my posts scheduled up to 2 weeks in advance. That's a good amount of buffer room for me, because it means that I'm on top of the game, but I still have time to go in and adjust things if the posts need to change. But the nice thing about these tools and everything is that you really can customize it to fit what you need, right? Like if you have a really busy season coming up, you can get your posts on deck as early in advance as you want to, and then you don't have to be worried about monitoring your social media all the time, right? You can just trust that it's going out and you're consistently producing that quality content that is necessary to building your brand. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. With most of these tools, you can run reports. So depending on how closely you're monitoring your accounts and how much you really want to drill down on, okay, well, what initiatives are working really well for me, or what content is resonating the best and performing the best for me. Within most of these tools, you can download those analytics and whatnot, and take a look at, okay, what has been happening over the last month, or what has happened in the last week. That's really important if you are getting into a serious campaign building. It's really great. I advise everybody to take a look at your stats before your campaign starts, and then take a look maybe at the midpoint and then at the end. So then you can really see, okay, was this successful by the KPIs that I put into place? And if not, why not? What could I do a little differently? Or where was the campaign performing the best over time? And what can I learn from that information? So those are kind of the advantages of A, automating, but B, really taking full advantage of these amazing tools that are out there.
Nice, very great. That's awesome. Thank you, Rochelle. And last but not least, we have Sophia Lemon, owner of Sophia Lemon Photography. She kicked off her career in marketing and communications while studying for her BA in media, information, and technoculture from Western University. Working with a small but powerful brand technology firm in Toronto, she had the privilege of working on experience-based marketing campaigns for brands like Honda, Nike, and Samsung. At the same time, she worked as a web editor and photographer for the Western Gazette and started building her own photography business focused on the Southern Georgian Bay market. After graduating and working as a marketing coordinator for a small local insurance brokerage, Sophia left office life behind to run her growing photography business full-time. And she's also working with us as a squad member as well. And so joining us by video link, because she is in an area that did not have very good service this morning, I'm gonna flip through the slides. You'll hear her voice, but you won't see her. She's joining us in spirit here in video form. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia Lemon, and I photograph ridiculously happy people. And Ben has asked me to speak to all of you about how I use my CRM and a couple of other automation tools to save myself hours and hours of work. So to get started, there are 3 primary tools that I use to automate my lead generation and to save me lots of time. And first of all, those tools are my CRM. The CRM that I use is Tave, which is specifically designed for photographers. And then the second tool is my website. It's on WordPress. That's my backend, which I'm sure a lot of you are using. And with WordPress, I use Gravity Forms for all of my lead generation. So if someone comes to my website and they want to get in contact with me, what they're typing into is Gravity Forms. A lot of people also use Contact Form 7. If you use Contact Form 7, that's great. A lot of these tips will be exactly the same for you. And then the third thing that I use is another WordPress plugin called Simply Schedule, which helps me schedule meetings with people. So the first and most important thing that happens is someone winds up on my website and they want to send me an email. So they go to my contact page and they type in all of their information and then they hit send. And what's interesting about what happens with my system is that my contact form, Gravity Forms, is hooked up to my CRM. So when someone puts in that they're looking for wedding photography or for family photography and they hit send, then a job is automatically created in my CRM with their contact information, which means that I don't have to put it in manually. Now, I have always used email templates to save time so that I'm not typing out the same email over and over again and wasting 10 minutes sending an email to a client. Although, let's be perfectly honest, we spend a heck of a lot more than 10 minutes typing out those initial emails to people. But what I have done with Tave, my CRM, is that I have converted all of those email templates for new leads into automated emails. So those emails are sent out automatically to people. So if someone comes to my website and sends me an email looking for family photography, that job will be created in Tave, and then that person will get an email thanking them for getting in touch with me, sharing with them a little bit of information about how I work and about my family photography packages. And in that email, there is a link to set up a meeting with me, because this is something that I require of all of my clients. I have to meet them before they book with me. So they click on that link. That link takes them to a page on my website where they can pick a time from my calendar that works for them for a meeting. So when they set up that meeting, it is automatically added to my calendar. It sends a calendar invite to them with all of the necessary links. And then the one thing that I have to do is I need to attach that calendar event to their job on Tave, which is about a 5-second thing. Once I've attached the calendar event to the job file in Tave, they will get an automated email the day of their meeting with the correct link and the time of their meeting and all of the necessary information that they need in order to, successfully show up to that meeting. So they get the reminder. So I'm missing far fewer meetings with people, which is fantastic. So there are a number of benefits to the way that I have this system set up. First of all, the fact that my clients automatically get an email after they get in touch with me with the applicable information for whatever it is that they're looking for. And I would say that probably about 60% of people that contact me through my website respond to that email with, well, thank you so much for getting back to us so quickly. But the other thing is that it gives them an opportunity to book a meeting right away. So while they're still engaged and they're still thinking about me, they automatically get that email asking them to book a meeting, and they are far more likely to book that meeting the sooner they get that email rather than receiving it later or getting a call from me in a week. I hope that all of this gives you some ideas of what you can implement in your business and with your back end to make your life a heck of a lot easier and save a lot of time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Sophia. And so that is it for our speaker presentations. We're going to open it up, sort of hand it back to Tim, maybe facilitate some questions and see how we can further help you, hopefully, integrate some of these solutions, some of these strategies for more productivity and automation.
Thanks, Ben. Fantastic. And thanks to all the panelists. We have just been wholeheartedly bombarded with content on the following. So Catherine helped us understand a bit more about inventory management. Jan helped us to understand the pros and cons of Monday.com. Jamie talked to us about outsourcing. Anna talked to us about Asana. Rochelle about social media, and you just heard from Sophia via video pre-recorded on CRMs. I hope you all had your pens handy and you were taking notes that would be relevant to you. But please remember as well that this session is being recorded, so you'll be able to access that through simcoe.ca/askanexpert. Tiffany, I'm wondering maybe if you could just drop that into the chat for everybody, please, and thank you. So that's simcoe.ca/askanexpert. And if you want to rewatch any component of this session, you can certainly do so right there. So we have received a number of questions ahead of time. We have just 12 minutes left to the end of the session, so we'll try to keep this as quick and punchy as possible. But I will also let you know that you can reach out through and to the Digital Service Squad by going to enterprisecenter.ca. I've just put that into the link, and you can have a free one-on-one consultation to help you drill down to the information or have the questions that you have specific to your business answered. And I think you've noticed today that the Digital Service Squad is broad, has a ton of knowledge and information. And even if they don't have the answer to your question, I know that they're resourceful enough to be able to find it for you. Let's kick off with this. Was there a steep learning curve for you, your staff, or your customers in working with you as you implemented the new sort of automated processes? Who wants to take that one? Anna, are you that maybe for Asana, like, bringing the rest of the team on board and along with you? Was that an easy transition? 30 seconds if you can.
No. Yeah, absolutely not. Everybody is a different type of learner. And I find that if you leave it in other people's hands to kind of try to figure out the software, nobody ends up using it. And then when you upgrade or you pay for not the free version and you want to have all the benefits, you might end up going months and months spending the money without everyone actually understanding. So I recommend having onboarding with the full team together and play and try and plug and play with scenarios of how you would be using the productivity management system.
Fantastic, thanks. Anybody else a quick response to that one? Catherine?
I can just say that adapt to the skills of the individuals you have working with you. So some people are stronger on things than others. So have a champion on the team that really likes to embrace, like in my case, the technology and wants to sort of lead by example. And the people who are more technophobe will sort of gradually put a toe in the water and follow along.
Fantastic, thanks so much. I'm going to move along to the next question. What are the indicators a business owner could identify or should be identifying with that they need to automate? Janie, you touched on this a little bit in the the requirement you identified with outsourcing. A snippet on that, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, whatever's falling to the last of your list, or the thing that doesn't get done, the thing you're dreading to get done, the thing that takes the most time. I think all of those things, I mean, getting to have your own business is supposed to be fun and something you're excited and interested in. And if there's parts of it that aren't interesting or not getting done, then those are the things to outsource or automate.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very, very solid response. Very logical too, absolutely. Here's another question for us. Any advice on best posting days of the week or hours in the day for social channels? This one actually did come with a little caveat. LinkedIn specifically, if anybody has experience using LinkedIn for posting, are there better times of the day and better days of the week for posting social? Rochelle, how about you take that one for us?
Sure. Yes, I'd say this goes back to checking out all the metrics and everything. So within any social profile that you have, you can check out when people are on your page the most and everything. Like you can see those trends over time. So I would say that it's definitely not a one size fits all answer. It's take a look in your back end and let your audience give you that answer. It's really quite cool, and it makes everything so much easier. It takes a lot of guesswork out of everything. So I should post on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. because that's when people are looking at my profile. Great. Yeah.
Yes, and the use of analytics to help you support and identify. And I think there were a few of you that really talked about, make sure that what you're doing creates return on investment, that it is making sense, that it is working for you. And if it's not working for you, Jan, what's the advice there? If what you're doing is not working for you, what's the advice?
I guess in terms of the example I gave, I was a bottleneck for a lot of things. So that's the reason behind automation. And then you try to find ways to automate. And you can automate a lot. It's getting that simple system, which can be more difficult than you think, but sometimes. But certainly if you feel like everything has to go through you, even stuff that shouldn't be, that's the push point.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. Back to social. Maybe Ben, we'll try and get you to chime in on this one first. Why do some posts do better than others when I post at the same time every day?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say that it goes back to what Rochelle was just saying too, right? I mean, there's lots of rules of thumb with, what time you're posting, and what kind of content you should post. But, sometimes it's just the way the wind blows that day. In reality, I mean, there you can post very similar things at similar times and get a different response. Sometimes it can be it can be, I guess, time of day that can make an impact, but people are coming and going about their day in different ways. So it's always hard to judge. I've heard a lot of not-for-profits trying to, have a successful campaign. They've had a successful campaign. They try to recreate it and it just falls flat. And that can be a difficult thing to kind of come back from any business really. And so part of the main thing to focus on with social media is consistency. Cast that wide net because it won't always be the same response every time. But what you want to try and hope for is just, capturing as many people over time as you can in a variety of different ways with all kinds of content.
Yeah, thank you. It's another question. It sort of revolves around social, but relates to volume. I'll start with the question and I'll come back with the qualifier because it was a bit more long-winded. So the question really is posting more always better, but I'll come back with the qualifier here. When you feel like you're producing quality content, doing all the right things, and are still not seeing growth or engagement, how do you get past feeling like it's just a popularity contest? Is posting more always better? Anybody want to tackle that? Anna?
Yeah, I'd love to tackle that one because I was an influencer for about 5-6 years straight. Like I've worked with everybody from LG to trying to find clients through my Instagram page. And I spent tons of years, like literally taking photos, thinking that the beautiful feed was going to get exactly what I was looking for the growth. But I have learned really, really quickly that it doesn't matter how much you post of beautiful content. It's all in the connection. You need to connect as a human being with other humans. And people can sniff out the salesy stuff. You know, when you're promoting an event, great, promote the event, but you need a lot of connection pieces leading up to promoting that event and really speak to your audience, what their weaknesses are, why you're there to help them, how you're serving them. You need to kind of show authentic and real stuff. And that is when I saw my stuff growing. So yeah, just kind of, I would say, try and just show up authentically and start talking about things that people can answer, people can rally up behind, people want to give their opinion on. It's not about you, it's about your audience. Essentially, your Instagram isn't just you promoting your stuff. No one wants to follow your Instagrams for just a sales page. They have, people are selling to them 24/7. What can you connect on a human level with them about? And one last little tip here is perfect is boring. Perfect is not something that people can connect with once again. So just because you see someone with 180,000 followers doing, you know, the same coaching business as you, doesn't mean follow it, because you don't know where they're connecting with their community in another way. They could be doing that through email or another private community on Facebook. So just connect. That's all I can say for that one.
Thanks, Hannah. Fantastic. We may have time for one, maybe two more questions. We've had one comment here that said there's just so many options. Like there are so many solutions to businesses or potential solutions for businesses to integrate technologies. The list is virtually endless when it comes to platforms, apps, tools that you can use. Can the Digital Service Squad help me figure out what's going to be best for my business in terms of automation? Maybe Ben, can you help us with that?
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly help you to try and figure out, what are those options and what might work best for my business. I mean, as Jamie mentioned in her presentation, I mean, she talked about the digital assessment, and we do an audit as well. So, a big part of what we do is trying to just look for rules of thumb, ways we can improve your overall marketing presence, your online presence. And that includes, automation. We can certainly have those conversations about, where things are falling behind and how we can help or advise you to be more efficient in those areas. And that includes too, I would mention, like, outsourcing. We work side by side with a lot of vendors and can provide a lot of different names of people to check out and to get quotes from.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ben. That brings us to 11:30, and in the interest of respecting everybody's time, we're going to wrap it there. But please do remember, if you want to see this session again, I've just popped into the chat for everybody the link to the County of Simcoe's website, where all of this session can be watched again. Equally, if you have questions specifically unique and customizable to your business or your organization, reach out to the Digital Service Squad. They are there and exist to help you. And as we mentioned earlier in the session, will be available until at least February 2022 now. So we are super excited about that. Thanks once again to all of the partners that contributed to support the Ask an Expert series, as well as to our panelists today. So Jamie, Jan, Catherine, Rochelle, Anna, to Sophia, who wasn't able to be with us today, to Tiffany and Karen behind the scenes, and of course to Ben for pulling all of this together for us in terms of the presentation. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next Ask an Expert series.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye for now.